We Sizwe.
That historic February day on his release in 1990, Nelson Mandela reiterated his 1994 Rivonia trial statement, which stated the reasons for the formation of Umkhonto We Sizwe. He said passive resistance and non-violence were not working. Apartheid legislation had closed all manner of opposition to the principle of white supremacy, leaving African people with only one option: to fight violence with violence.
And they had no guns. Now we had to get the guns to retaliate.
The violence meted upon our people by the state had reached unprecedented proportions. So that in itself was a call for us to take up arms, one in defense of our people, but also to get rid of an apartheid system that was dubbed a crime against humanity by the United Nations.
Well, the banning of the African National Congress and other organizations meant that there would have been no continuation of struggle. This was the first time that the ANC had actually been totally banned. To continue the resistance, an underground organization was set up, and that was Umkhonto.
The authority in his voice gives a clue to why he was one of the first and most successful Umkhonto recruits. Order of Luthuli recipient Isaac Maphoto achieved the rank of commander in the revered Luthuli detachment. A camp in exile was named after him. An ANC branch in Polokwane bears his name.
This uniform is for Umkhonto We Sizwe, the army which was formed by Albert Luthuli in 1961.
To most of us, the acronym MK means Umkhonto We Sizwe. Those with insights into the workings of the ANC of 1961 say it stood for the Mandela Kotane Plan, the grand plan for the formation of MK. Kotane, Tambo, Luthuli, Sisulu, about a fraction of the long list of people instrumental in the birth of the spear. Fierce debates preceded the formation, with most of the proponents being branded hotheads. The violence route was a problem because up till then the liberation struggle was fought along peaceful lines. An example was the pass-burning campaign of the 1950s. But events such as the Sharpeville massacre of 1960 and the banning of all political movements made the decision even more appealing. In 1976, a student uprising of unprecedented proportion took place in Soweto and parts of the Cape. Government's response to these marches led thousands of young people to leave South Africa to join MK. They became known as the 1976 detachment. The Secretary General of the MK military veterans, Ayanda Dlodlo, has spent much of the Jubilee year talking and writing about the event. Her emphasis has been on what is called the flowers of the revolution, or the women in Umkhonto who sometimes had to go under aliases.
I'm Thembi Gwili, a representative of the Women's Secretariat in the People's Republic of Angola. I'm liaising with the Regional Women's Committee and the National Women's Secretariat.
Ms. Ngakula is currently the Minister of Correctional Services, and her husband, Charles, is himself a senior member of the African National Congress. See if you can recognize the following person who was speaking alongside Mrs. Ngakula from a camp in Angola.
I'm Namhlehehu, and I work with the propaganda unit in our camp, and I work as well as with our women in the region. Well, the role of our women in as far as propaganda is concerned is that they have to propagate about our struggle inside the country, tell the people about the African National Congress, the role of the African National Congress in as far as liberating the people of South Africa is concerned.
Happy we're going back home to report to the president.
These days, Lindiwe Zulu works in the presidential office as an international relations advisor and special advisor on Zimbabwe. Ms. Dlodlo herself was a teenager when she was sent into Swaziland. From then on, she went to Angola, where she underwent the obligatory 10 months training in military tactic and communications. With the folding of MK, her energies are now spent on the ANC National Executive Committee, of which she's a member. She's also the Deputy Minister in the Public Service and Administration Department.
What people should take away is the fact that there was a group of children, there was a group of youth who left all else. They left their youth behind, they left their childhood behind, they left the comfort of their homes, they left the love of their parents behind to look at the bigger picture of liberating our people. So people must take away the political affiliation and look at this selfless, dedicated, disciplined group of people who put above everything else in their lives the people of this country.
The role of Umkhonto We Sizwe becomes important. In fact, Umkhonto We Sizwe already leads all other efforts in our country in terms of charting the way forward into transition. Umkhonto We Sizwe is already preparing for that transition period. Umkhonto We Sizwe, through all of you as cadres sitting here, you are already beginning to build that democratic dispensation that we want to get into. We see you all collectively as being comrades who are going to have to play an important role in a new defense force that we will forge in our country.
That's a piece there remembering the life of Isaac Ike Maphoto.